Chapter 111, Tournament, Finals Part 6. And thus the sun rose onto the third day. The Dwarf King grabbed me on the way out yesterday, so we were partying until quite late. I had wanted to speak with Masayuki, but of course the king takes priority. Well, I guess I'll have Shina pass him a message. And there will probably be an opportunity to talk later anyways. While I was partying with the Dwarf King, the Empress of Sarian joined, trespassed, which led me to introduce them to each other. We again exchanged promises of research cooperation, so I can probably expect Tempest to develop many wonderful things in the future. Thus, the important topic was decided with alcohol aplenty. Is that alright? I had my doubts about it, but if you think about it, plenty of negotiations conclude while people are drinking. It's probably something similar to that. The only difference would be the scale, a company matter as compared to a national one. Now that, including the preliminaries, a few days have passed, the spectators have gotten used to the road to the arena. Plus comfortable housing and delicious meals. The spectators are now merrily proceeding to the arena, smiles on their faces in anticipation of the sights they will see today. Furthermore, not just people from countries who have had a history together, but also those from regions that never before associated with each other are happily chatting together. And Meyer Miles sent his merchants to spread the rumors of the dungeon among those groups. Should I be impressed or what? They make up some plausible rumors like, you know those amazing weapons from yesterday? Seems like they were discovered in the dungeon. But seriously, it is true that I ordered for this to happen, but I did not think things would go so well. In any case, seems like adventurers who specialize in guard duties are also interested in the dungeon now, so a job well done. Compared to the jubilant spectators, there's also a group which is dampening the mood. The Tengu. They are very flustered, probably because they have recognized how wrong they were about our power after watching the department heads fight. Momiji reddened after seeing Benimaru's first match, and all the Tengu's faces turned blue after watching yesterday's matches. And now, their faces are completely white, as if burned out. Thanks for amusing me with the face color changes, folks. Chances are, the color of their faces perfectly corresponds to which memory of disrespect towards me they are recalling. The Tengu are a high monster race, possessing strong power and pride, so they probably underestimated my country's abilities. But, after watching the matches, they have realized just how far off the mark their common sense is, which depressed them. Of course, I can't explain why Momiji turned red after watching Benimaru's match, but I'm going to guess the Tengu will appear once again before me to ask for an alliance. Should that happen, the Great Jura Forest will completely come under my dominance, which is probably a good thing. Now then, I have planned for 4 matches to happen today. It's a miracle Gobuta is still in the running, but I guess we have 8 individuals of name and fame fighting today. Certainly something worth to watch. Now then, the first match of the day. 9th round, Benimaru vs Sui. A fight between rivals, I am looking to the outcome. For this match, it was hard to decide whether Shina or Suka would be the announcer. Suka is Sui's subordinate, and Shina is Benimaru's sister. While the two were arguing, I guess it can't be helped. I guess it's my turn now. Shin said, raising her hand. It's not your turn. Sit and watch. Benimaru and Sui said simultaneously, quickly shooting down Shin's suggestion. And the result, trembling from a desire to do it, Milim stole the mic. Well, yeah. I didn't expect her to accept being a spectator the whole time anyways. And since she got her hands on it, I doubt she'll let it go. So she'll be the announcer for the day. The spectators are perfectly happy with the result. After all, she is clearly a very adorable girl. As long as they don't figure out her true nature, everything will be fine. It's out of my hands now. Let's pray to the heavens that things will end peacefully. On Milim's command, the match began. Both moved at the same time. Sui started by attacking and attempting to bind Benimaru with steel thread, but Benimaru burned all of it using a fire aura. As if it was the most obvious result in the world, Sui quickly dropped this approach. And that's when their real battle began. Benimaru's Crimson Tachi crossed with Sui's twin Nijitu. Sui dual-wielding, Benimaru with a single flame Tachi. Benimaru has turned into a being composed of fire itself, nullifying physical attacks. So Sui's normal swords could hardly damage him. On the other hand, though ever so slightly, Sui's resistance was being overcome by the overwhelming force before him. This match was in Benimaru's favor. Even if Sui had deployed his clones, since they cannot perfectly replicate his abilities, these weaker beings could hardly damage Benimaru. Which is why Sui did not seem as though he intended to deploy them at all. At this rate Sui will lose. Well, when I thought so, he disappeared. Chances are, he had been using a clone to divert our attention this whole time. What a superb actor he is. And, no doubt about it, it was a truly high-grade skill. He hid himself using that wonderful performance. And now, he will act with his unique skill assassin, which will be really hard to defend against. It is possible to evade the attack if you are conscious of where he is, but as he is now, it has a 100% chance to land. That's that power of his assassin. And since it's a direct attack on the spirit, those with untrained spirit will immediately perish. So surely this is Sui's victory, or so I thought. Naive. Benimaru shouted, and cut at Sui, who had appeared from his blind spot. The Tachi stopped right above Sui's neck, and Sui too stopped moving. Benimaru's victory. You see, Benimaru has this unique skill Generalissimo which he uses to command all the troops. Though it's not an anti-personnel skill, it does come with a useful perk. Space recognition. He has the highest spatial recognition ability. Normally, he uses it to comprehend the entire theater of battle by viewing the entirety of space and subspace at once. So once he has perceived an opponent, he will not lose them even if they are but a shadow in the subspace. So it may be impossible to evade Benimaru's detection. In short, Sui was at a disadvantage from the very first second. Phew. My first defeat, huh? Yeah, 1 win 1,000 ties. 1 loss, huh? I will no longer fight you. Losing any more is too painful. Ha ha ha, it's thanks to my ability, that's all. Skill-wise, we're about the same. With bitter smiles on their faces, there stood Benimaru and Sui. Truly, they were both skillful. Physical ability is also just about the same, unique skill is what made the difference. Honestly, what a wonderful match. And a thunderous applause filled the stadium when Milim announced Benimaru the winner. The previously ashen-faced Tengu Momiji was now bright red, and stood clapping. It's a good thing she has finally recovered. Who would have thought that we would have such an exciting match right away? Well, I have now finally decided their standing. Benimaru will be vanguard, Sui will fight from the shadows. Yeah, that's exactly how we've always done things, but now I am certain that this is the best way to do it. 10th round, Gobuta vs Ranga. TL note, I do not take responsibility for how you interpret this scene. Remember the importance of consent. While the excitement from the last match is yet to fall, and right before lunch, we're going to have our second match. The clearly in the wrong place Gobuta, and the I haven't played enough with Gable, so I am excited to go Ranga. Ah, Gobuta's despair will make my meal delicious. I hope that doesn't happen. The moment the match began, Gobuta charged Ranga. A suicide bombing. I thought. I'll do it, so. You're going down, so. He ran in desperately screaming. He's serious, ain't he? Way to go, Gobuta. I will not forget your valiant sacrifice. Fare thee well, Gobuta. Having paid my respects to Gobuta in my heart, I noticed that my food really did seem more delicious with his despair as a spice, and felt a bit rude as a result. And then, Gobuta activated his extra skill union and clung onto Ranga. Huh. I thought surprised. Benimaru, Sui, and Shin too, stood gaping at the scene before us. Completely unexpected. What the hell is he doing, is written on our faces. Ranga is raging, refusing to become one, but is unable to throw him off. His anger reaching its peak, Ranga decided to shoot Gobuta off his back with black lightning. And that was the end for Gobuta. I promptly decided to go down with a full recovery potion in my hand. A gauge AAA. Triple A, huh? Kiwuh? It doesn't hurt, so. Gobuta lifted his head asking. Seriously? Even I cannot hide my astonishment. Even the guests, blinded by the light from that lightning bolt, were sure the match had been decided. Knowing how powerful it is, the department heads were sure Gobuta was killed. Many appeared just like that. I mean, yeah, that's how it should be. Even I was about to rush in with a full recovery potion before he actually passed away. But he's completely unharmed. I can hear Ranga's fangs grind in anger. Confirmed. Individual, Gobuta has awakened the unique skill bestow me with thy power. Magic Wolf Summoner. He is now able to unite with a wolf he summoned. What did you say? Is Gobuta a genius? Actually, I guess he always was. I mean, consider this unification business. Even though not a single of Ranga's subordinates can do it, Gobuta managed to do it with Ranga who was resisting. In other words, Ranga cannot harm him with his abilities. So it's a tie. But this is clearly Gobuta's victory. Milim, what do you think? I sent that kind of glance at her, and she replied with a, I also think Gobuta won. This match has concluded. Winner, Gobuta. Milim announced. And the arena erupted in cheers. Gobuta hopped off the horse, with a look of a cowboy who has tamed a raging stallion. Having heard this announcement, Ranga dropped his head and sat. His tail fell to the ground, motionless. I won so. I actually won so. Gobuta shouted gleefully, and was congratulated by Tuka, Saika, Nanso, and Hokuso. No, truly an unexpected result. We did not make bets, but if we did I would have bet against him. So let's praise him, wonderfully done. To think that he was the kind of guy who excelled when under pressure, he has displayed wonderful growth. By challenging Ranga fearlessly he was able to obtain a unique skill. I guess I will just have to praise him today. The second match of the day was thus Gobuta's victory. Truly beyond expectation. Whether it was according to Raphael's prediction, I do not know, and I bet Raphael would not answer. Such were my thoughts while I was watching the joyful Gobuta. Before the lunch break, Ranga hobbled over. I have no excuses, my master. I have shown a truly disgraceful performance. Hanging his head, Ranga was reflecting on his mistake. But, in a sense, this is only possible because of Gobuta's victory. Well, it probably happened because Ranga let his guard down. So, Ranga, do you now understand? If you look down on your opponent, this is the result. From now on, reflect on your mistake and stop looking down on people. As you have said, I seem to have become too arrogant. I shall be more cautious in the future. All's good if he understand. He's been too laid back recently, so this is good medicine. In fact, I have to thank Gobuta for teaching Ranga a lesson here. When I thought to add this. Of course, I am also grateful to Gobuta. If he calls for me, I will answer his call. Ranga nodded. What an unfair power Gobuta has acquired, summoning Ranga. Well, I hope the two of them can get along from now on and come to each other's aid. According to Raphael, bestow me with thy power, is a degraded version of one of my skills, and since I have greater authority, he'll be able to summon Ranga as long as I don't need him. Thus, I asked Ranga to take care of Gobuta from now on. In other words, Gobuta can use him in the upcoming matches. So I guess I should look forward to Benimaru vs Gobuta. After the lunch ended, the next match began. 11th match, Beretta vs Diablo. If these two fights with all of their strength, I do not know who would win. So it's a match I was truly looking forward to. Without a shout or a sound, the two smoothly began the match. From the onset, the two completely negate physical attacks, so this won't devolve into physical combat. Overwhelming the opponent with one's abilities may also not work, so it's best to use just enough power to get through. That is, rather than nuking the entire region, it's better to fire a single highly dense fireball. Sure, for lower beings, common soldiers, you should burn a large area so that the heat will burn their very lungs, but that doesn't work on high beings with multiple barriers. So it's likely that we'll be seeing some impressive pinpoint abilities. Now then, how will this battle go? Without a chant, Diablo shot a number of fireballs at Beretta. Every single one being of extreme heat, he probably planned to melt him. But that attack did not as much scratch Beretta, and Beretta countered. Calamity Cannon. He suddenly fired off his Holy Demon combination instant death unique skill. Suddenly trying to end this with a bang. This skill combines the two opposite attributes, Holy and Demon, and so cannot be blocked. But Fu. I guess I can't use cheap tricks here. Moreover, testing you here just might end in my defeat. Seems like Diablo teleported behind Beretta, evading the attack. So completely unhurt Diablo told Beretta, who had fired that instant death skill. No matter how powerful of an skill it may be, Diablo can always evade it using Paradise Time. Thus, Beretta's instant death skill is sealed. But, without appearing nervous at all. I see, as expected of Diablo-sama. You are in fact a great demon who has lived for many moons. However, I too am your equal. Please do not hold back. He shouted, and wearing fighting spirit on his hands, he attacked Diablo. Fu. Oh, the young people these days. But very well, I guess I'll go all out. As if with a bow to Beretta, Diablo clad his hands in Demon Lord's ambition and engaged. Close quarter combat had begun. Punching each other and throwing kicks. Even though I had thought that the caster that Diablo is he'd be at a disadvantage, he actually seemed stronger. Each time he struck, Beretta had to begin regenerating and was thus being pressed. In the end, whether the spirit or the body, the one who crushes the other will emerge victorious. Break the spirit and the defense will crumble. So if you surpass your opponent you win. A good match it was. And one that was easy for the spectators to understand, with a clear victor. In the end stood only one. Diablo. It was his victory, where he dominated by strength. Well, your Beretta did pretty well. But the one who also beat my lion mask was just too strong. In other words, it's not like my lion mask would lose to your Beretta. I'm not sure if Milim was trying to console Ramiris or make fun of her. After announcing Diablo's victory she specifically came over just to say that. Seems like she's still holding a grudge. As for Ramiris, I could hear her teeth grinding, but what can you do, it's a difference of strength. It was so obvious she can't refute. And thus, the third match of the day, though ended in a simple brawl, did not feel like that at all. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 112, Tournament, Finals Part 7. Tournament, Finals Part 7. The 12th match. Hakura vs Shin. It's the last match of the third day. At the center of the Colosseum, Hakura stands opposite to Shin. Inside the tense atmosphere is Milim, who act like usual, undisturbed. Begin. Milim. She shouted. Having become more experienced, she gives the announcement fluently. By the way, Suka doesn't take the referee role, she just does the victory proclamation. Because there is the risk that Suka will interrupt the more serious sword fights, she only gives live reports. Milim, imitating her, doesn't do anything that would disturb the match. She is just happy that she could do something. My worry of her behaving wildly hasn't come true, I'm really thankful it hasn't. Let's pay more attention to the match. The two brandished their swords against each other with a quiet atmosphere. It is not a relentless sword clash like the fight between Benimaru and Sui, they just straightforwardly test each other's offense and defense. It's like a calm, flowing river. However, a sudden downpour made the river surge. Hakuro yelled out with fighting spirit as he slashed in Shin's direction. But, Shin isn't impatient. With a wonderful example of using just enough power to not injure the opponent, she wards off Hakura's slash. Hakura is still in contrast to Shin, who is always in motion. They give such impression, however this battle completely turned that image around. Just like in the yesterday's battle, Shin obviously had grown. Her fighting method was not the one where she just attacks with all of her strength like she had done until recently, but she has changed into a skilled battling method that stresses the importance of rational tactics. That is combining strength with technique. This means that her power had increased by one level. If going by skill level alone, it didn't match Hakura yet, but with both her higher physical strength and skill level supplemented by her instinct, she could fight on par with Hakura. No, they're not equal. Shin, who has a flowing sword art, incorporated her irrational Herculean strength. Her technique is still immature if compared to Hakura's. In reality, the one who is seriously fighting and was pushed out in this battle was Hakura. It seems that Hakura's swordsmanship was unable to ward off Shin's sword attack. You have grown, Shin. Never did I expect that with your sword skill you could get this far. Hakura. Phew. I won't act violently for forever, you know. My wish is to reach that high place for sure. With my previous self, I could never be useful for Rimuru-sama. Shin. The swords intersect and repel each other. Once more they face each other by taking a distance. It's more than I thought. They began to display the aspect of an advanced swordsman's match. Hakura nods in satisfaction after seeing Shin's growth. Sui was the first disciple he took under his wing. He knows his own ability and duties, while abstaining himself from overconfidence. An ideal disciple. Compared to Sui, Benimaru and Shin were very different. No matter how he teaches, they are more about combat rather than theory, and thus, more about strength rather than skill. That was the personality that they carried into their battles. However, Benimaru, as the young warrior of the ogres, one was a boy who had a strong sense of responsibility from the beginning. Therefore, it was good that he was aware that self-conceit could make the people he holds dear hurt. Like that, Benimaru mastered his awareness and responsibility as a general. He has grown more remarkably than what Hakura had previously expected. For Hakura too, it was truly a joyous thing. But, more than anything for the problem child Shin to become more mature, Hakura, although very surprised, was also delighted. For a period of time, Shin's outrage after being resurrected from the maws of death was an intolerable thing. Is her mind unstable? Has her heart gone dark too? It was as if her heart had been completely dyed by the violent hatred towards people except her friends. He had also inspected the situation of Yamiguri's special training, but they did not give out the feeling of special training but of venting their anger. Had Shin's mind gone mad because she died? So he worried. If by some chance Shin turned into someone who causes great harm, he had the resolution to personally deal with her using his sword. However, Shin showed growth. Shin changed again after being admonished by Rimuru-sama following the fight with the Holy Knights. In the end, Shin may just be afraid. Afraid of being killed. It wasn't because death is scary, but because she was afraid she would disappear without being any use. It seemed that finding herself not useful and being forgotten by Rimuru-sama is what she is afraid of, more than anything else, by Hakura's analysis. For that reason, even for a little, she tries to stand out more than others. The cause was also because she was obsessed with foolish things like ranking order. She envied the others. She was afraid that if she was not hugging Rimuru-sama's interest and affection for herself, she would end up forgotten and left behind. The jealousy in her heart is the cause of her recklessness. However, Rimuru-sama will never forget about us. Once she realizes that, the jealousy in her heart will surely disappear. In the end, the sense of being securely watched over by a parent was something that protected Shin's mind. Now, there is no doubt in Shin's swordsmanship. Such a thing told more than any words. If she keeps growing at the same rate as now, the day when her ability surpasses Hakura doesn't seem far. If that's true, then I can give my undivided attention to the troublesome youths, such as Gobuta and Gable. So he thinks, while a delightful smile begins to shape. Now, if you are able to stop this sword, I will confer to you the full mastery of my arts. Hakura. He told Shin, and the training sword once more enters its sheath. The match will be decided by the next strike. To see Shin's growth was a godsend. After this, it is only to enjoy this battle. Hakura intended to use Batojutsu 3. Shin also noticed it. However, Shin doesn't become unnerved. Of course, she won't use Batojutsu, since her Otaki won't get additional speed when it was drawn. It's not like she wasn't able to do it, but now is not the right time to use it. For Shin and the others, Hakura was the closest person to a parent for them. He was the only person who had raised them since they were young. That's why, one of Shin's objectives was to be acknowledged by him. And then, after surpassing him, she'll grow. That's what Shin thought. Until recently, the heavy insecurity that had occupied her heart had been completely vanished. She wasn't afraid of death. But, what she feared more than death was to be forgotten. However, it's alright now. Conviction that Rimuru-sama will never forget about her had swept away Shin's insecurity. At the same time as the insecurity was swept away, she realized that it was meaningless to envy others. So, instead of envy, she had surpassed it. Shin had reached the part where she noticed the meaning of surpassing herself, that she's not another person. In that case, she will always keep on growing. At the end of that progress, thanks to their longer lifespan, she could arrive at a perspective that couldn't be attained by short-lived people. When thinking about this, Shin didn't feel any need to be impatient anymore. Shin's growth was accelerated when her insecurity and doubt disappeared. However, it could be called ironic. That is, something that even Shin wasn't unable to notice. The envious sprout that budded inside Shin's heart once again showed some change. At the same time as her insecurity and doubt disappeared, the envious feeling towards others was also dispelled. The outcome of this was that the budding sprout in a surge, turned back into a seed and fell asleep in her innermost heart. And thus, the budding of Shin's feelings of envy ceased. The seed did not vanish when it assimilated with the soul, it blended together with the wavelength of her soul, and engraved the beat. Did the envy not bud because her anxiety and doubt disappeared? Or did her anxiety and doubt disappear because she no longer goes mad with jealousy? It was uncertain. Anyway, Shin changed and arrived at the present state. Next, what Hakura had released was without doubt a sword saint's sword draw arts. If someone was able to stop the attack, then there was a good chance of winning. It was the weak point of sword draw. The winner and loser would be decided by this one strike. Shin devoted her entire body and soul and made a posture to prepare against Hakura's attack. Dim stream /4. Hakura. Hakura's figure became indistinct, thin like air. Despite the fact that Shin's perception was not inferior in speed, it was obstructed for a moment, and before she realized it, he had already appeared before her eyes like an optical illusion. The shining blade was flowing as if it would cut through the neck. Hakura's victory seems to be confirmed. Not yet. War Goddess Release 5. Shin. Shin transforms by utilizing the unique skill War Goddess Transformation 6. When the doubt inside Shin disappeared, the skill demonification changed into War Goddess Transformation. It's not a skill where someone loses their awareness and rage like a berserker. It's an ability that purely raised physical power. Just like Benimaru's Demon Flame Transformation 7, it was an ability where they're able to use the properties of their soul body. Shin is in a state where her body's strength was transferred into her soul body without any change. However, it consumes an extreme amount of energy, so it can't be used for a long time. This moment is when the decision concluding this offense and defense is made. With her current self, she can't match Hakura. That's why, she used all of her ability. Under the effect of unique skill War Goddess Transformation, a fierce and powerful Toki overflows from Shin's entire body. All her senses are sharpened at the same time, and the power overflowing from Shin can be felt. The current Shin is able to clearly see Hakura's dim current / that could even confuse one's speed perception. Evasion is unnecessary. She will not receive damage from that katana. Shin understood that in an instant. However, Shin chose to respond to it with her greatest technique without hesitation. Chaotic, the apocalypse and genesis of fate, life and death of the universe 8. Shin. Putting her whole will in it, it could even alter the outcome. She twists her body while sending her Otaki from below and intercept Hakura's blade. Hakura's blade that was aimed to slash at Shin's neck was intercepted by Shin's Otaki. Despite that, there wasn't even a chance for it to make it in time. Shin's accelerating sword speed broke common sense and overwrote the result. Light flickers, and a broken edge flew in the air. Shin's Otaki beat and cut Hakura's training katana. Shin quickly retracted her blade and swung down with her overhead raised Otaki. A clear voice with high-pitched tone could be heard as Shin's Otaki was stopped by the magic sword Tenma 9 in Milim's hand. Stop. Any more than this is prohibited. This match shall be Shin's victory. Milim. Milim proclaimed Shin's victory with an expression as if nothing had happened. Shout of joy wrapped the Colosseum. Milim interrupted the match and stopping Shin's sword. Few people noticed the real situation. But, Hakura and Shin simultaneously understood. If she continued her slash, Hakura might receive a fatal damage that couldn't be reversed even with regeneration. I am sorry, Hakura. I want you to see my growth, unconsciously Shin. What I don't really mind. I also wanted to see your seriousness. No, I've already seen enough. Hakura. Hakura forgives Shin when she apologizes. Towards those two. Oi, you who is called Shin. I will personally teach you next time. You should be pleased. That strike just now was a strike that could even slay Demon Lord, you know. Milim. So Milim says. However. No, I need to decline. After all, I'm not that really interested in becoming strong. Shin. As one would expect, Shin declined if her opponent is the tyrant Milim, and chose to escape. What did you say? You should take the responsibility for chipping my magic sword Tenma. Milim. Milim made a fuss, but if she minds it then she's already lost. Shin made the right choice, resolute on making a speedy escape from the arena. No, it's not chipped, it's only degraded by rust. There is no problem. For becoming an important judge-referee for today, thank you very much. Shin. After she said that, Shin started to flee and quickly left that place. Milim had face that say she began to laugh as if she gave up on it. Milim's laugh reverberates in the Colosseum. This match's victory goes to Shin. The winner of final match on the third tournament day is Shin. With this, the best 4 people are all present. I was surprised. Shin was able to confront Hakura directly, but I was more surprised by her victory. However, what surprised me the most is Milim, who read the situation and intervened. I think that if Milim's intervention didn't come, Hakura would be dead. It's good that she intervened. Milim, you really helped me by stopping Shin there, thank you. Rimuru. When I say my thanks. Wahahaha. What, it was a good thing. However, your subordinate called Shin, that one is growing up. You don't need to be worried about that guy, fellow. Milim. So she answered with laugh. The thing is, will I also make a live report tomorrow? Milim. So she demands from me while inclining her head, a smile on her face. She will not accept her refusal. Glimpse I glance at Suka. Understood. Then Milim-sama, let's us both make a live report together. Suka. It seems Suka will not yield in this. Well, whatever. Perhaps something will happen tomorrow. Milim and Suka, I acknowledge that those two would perform the live report for tomorrow's matches. The schedule for the 4th day. The 13th match. Benimaru vs Gobuta, plus Ranga. The 14th match. Shin vs Diablo. Also, the match to decide the 3rd place. Well, what will happen? We left to go home while thinking about tomorrow's outcome. In the night. The meal with the hero Masayuki that been delayed was achieved. Oh well, it was not such grandiose thing. It's nice to meet you, is it fine? I'm the hero, lol, Masayuki. While blushing, Masayuki introduces himself as a hero. Yeah. If he still had the original world's sense, there's no one who would not be embarrassed when calling oneself a hero. It's just like the feeling of when you're called and made fun as a muscle-brained hero inside a game. And, he called me out when we meet before. At that time, he was still under Yuuki's brainwashing, but he remembered that the response can't be taken back. Therefore it seems to have become an unpleasant feeling. 10. After all, I'm a demon lord. As the opponent, I can be considered a boss that needed to be defeated. I think his mental state can be called very complex now. However, such a sick feeling should be cleared if I prepared a meal to eat together. Oh well, although this is not our first meeting, nice to meet you. 11, should do. I'm Demon Lord Rimuru. My real name is Mikami Satoru. I'm a former salary man. Rimuru. So, I first spoke frankly to ease the mood. It's been a long time since I've spoken that abandoned name, but it flowed more nicely than I thought. By any chance, are you a Japanese person? Masayuki. Oh well, my looks as a pretty girl. 12. It's natural if he doesn't believe it. Well, yes. Shall we talk about it while we eat? Rimuru. I said so and invited him to a meal. Masayuki is deeply moved because of the sushi and udon displayed in front of his eyes, we'll be able to have a decent conversation after the meal. I understand. It's okay if I become Mikami-san's subordinate. Masayuki. Although I still not said anything yet, he said such words as soon as we finished eating. What did you understand? I completely don't understand. No, well, although I can understand that he's starved for Japanese food. Subordinate, you are. Rimuru. No, it's okay. Because, I don't has any attachments for something like hero. To be frank, it's embarrassing to be called Masayuki 13. No, actually, I was troubled how should I resign you know. Masayuki. So he starts talking freely. He told me that he attended college prep schools 14 back in the former world and was also a bright honor student. His secret and hidden hobby was that he liked to read manga and light novels, but thanks to that he had the desire to become a hero, so he complained about this. After that, we talked about various things and explained about each other's circumstances. Well, I only talked a bit, I almost became an expert at listening. It seems he really wanted to talk, he explained lengthily and in great detail. It seems Masayuki was unable to speak what was inside his mind, because his companions worshipped him as if he was a god. With such circumstances, he seemed to have piled up a lot of stress. I also heard about Yuuki in detail. Oh well, as I expected. I seemed to have received the thought guidance that was the first stage of brainwashing, I attained some proof. Thought I had doubts if there was complete mind domination, but this was also inside my prediction. It's difficult to perform complete mind domination on several people at the same time, this was what I had reasoned. About will domination, is preferable for useful people that had unique skill, as it is difficult to dominate them since people with ability usually had a strong will. That's why it's necessary to affect them when their ability hasn't reached a mature stage. Still thought guidance, isn't it? I had memories when I receive it, but it was also the truth that he had helped me. Instead of shameful memories, it could have ended worse. However, thanks to that, I could faint if I try to remember it. As expected, I can't forgive that guy, Masayuki. If he is recognized as hero, then he had mastered the ability as it was. That's also okay, but it seems that the memory is embarrassing. Well, there is nothing that can be done except to forget it. Although, he will faint in agony for a while. In the end, Masayuki promised to cooperate with me. Since, it's also profitable to get information from him. When he could remember he would contact me, so for the moment he would continue to stay in my city. Above all, I still had business with his manga memory. He'll become my conversation partner for a while. Thus, the friendship between me and Masayuki was created and I obtained a new companion. One to refresh our mind, the kanji for ogre is Dio-ni-zoku, great/large demon race while the furigana is Uga. From ogre they evolved into Oni the kanji is Oni-hito-zoku. To kokoro, can mean more than one. It can also mean mind or spirit/soul. Gone dark equals clouded by something. 3 Batojutsu, the art of drawing sword, the other name for it is Iaijutsu. This is a serious sword art where the practitioner draw their sword and return it so fast skillfully without ways to move. A skillful master can use his sword so fast that eyes couldn't see it. Just watch some Rurouni Kenshin or some YouTube video, it's cool. 4 equals Aburo Ryujui Zan, Aburo equals dim, hazy, vague. Ryujui equals flowing water/current. Zan equals //cut. If you guys have an idea for any good name for technique or skill, please comment. 5 equals Taoshin, can also be read as Teitako Kami, Kai Hao, war, can also mean combat, god, goddess as Shina girl, release. War god is already Rinyas. 6 equals Taoshinka, war goddess transformation. Trivia mean apotheosis like the one Kyumo Ko-chan, no Shiraori-sama undergo. 7 equals Ma and Ka, demon/magic flame transformation. 8, Tenshi Kasatsu Hotan, Kaotiku Fito. Tenshi, equals can mean heaven and earth but can also mean universe. Kasatsu, equals life and death. Hutan, equals ho or kyuzur, can mean crumble/collapse/breakdown/destroy, while tan, can mean born, so I translate it as the apocalypse and genesis of life and death of universe. 2 mouthful. 9 equals Maken Tenma, demon slash magic slash demonic slash cursed slash magical sword, heavenly demon, but Tenma sound cooler. 10 and unpleasant memories, just like dark history for people cured from Chiryunibu. 11 Masayuki use Hajime Mashite, which was only used if it's the first time you meet with someone and introduces yourself to that person. Like a scene in anime when a transfer student come to your class he will introduces her himself starting with Hajime Mashite and then he name. 12 Rimuru admit that he is a pretty little girl. 13 Masayuki name is Honjo Masayuki Masayuki Honjo. In English format, Honjo is his family name while Masayuki is his first given name. For Japanese people it is not really polite to call someone first name if you are not someone close to her him. This is called as yabaisut in Japanese. Yabaisut mean addressing someone without honorific. For a couple this is normal. 14 Shingakukao, a school centered on preparing the students to get into college/university. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 113, Tournament, Finals Part 8. Tournament, Finals Part 8. The tournament only had 2 days left. Today is the last climax, all that is left is tomorrow's final match. The final match will be held in the morning, while a showing of the inside of the dungeon is planned for the afternoon. However, even though this Colosseum was built to be as strong as possible, traces of destruction can still be seen in some parts of the arena. Although they didn't conduct any temporary repairs for the match effect, to reach this degree of damage in just a few days, the matches were fiercer than expected. Oh well, as long as it doesn't affect the spectators' seats it's good. It's unexpected, but in case of a big problem occurring, we thoroughly set up a barrier. Well, another unexpected thing is the overwhelming popularity of Suka and Milim. Especially Milim. Though she only took the position of announcer for 1 day, it seems she has acquired a deeply rooted fan base. Amongst the nobles and the adventurers, and even the influential monsters of the Jura Great Forest, she acquired tremendous popularity. Oh well, it's simply because they don't know her true nature, they cheerfully shouted things like Milim Chaen, or Mi Liam Sama. It's interesting that for some reason they called Suka without any honorific, while there's no one that called Milim without an honorific. Is it because of the aura haki that she exudes? Is that the cause? Oh well, it's Milim after all. It wouldn't be a surprise even if it was. Today 2 matches will be held in the morning, while in the afternoon there will be a match to decide 3rd place. Concerning the fatigue, the first match is more advantageous, but that isn't a good excuse. I'm looking forward to the battles from today's matches, so do your best everyone. Well, it's almost time for today's first match to begin. The 13th match. Benimaru vs Gobuta. In contrast to the nervous Gobuta, Benimaru is calm. By the way, I conveyed a message to Gobuta that he can only summon Ranga in a fight. That, Gobuta is being recognized as the superior of Ranga, makes me concerned about the match. In this match, Gobuta is the leading actor till the end. Begin. Suka and Milim. With the harmonious shouts of Milim and Suka, today's first match began. I will do it Su. Gobuta. So, Gobuta charged like yesterday. I thought that it was useless, and just like I thought, Benimaru dodged it and sent a kick. As expected, Gobuta is no match for Benimaru. You better quick summon the doggy one, Ranga. Milim. Without hiding anything, Milim gave out her advice order. As expected the difference in their face is too great. Contestant Gobuta cannot do anything to contestant Benimaru. Suka. Suka's subjective live coverage greatly perturbed the heart and mind. Against this announcement, people without confidence in their face will cry. As expected Su. I tried to see how far I could go with my current ability Su. However, I'm unable to land any hit Su. Please let me use it. Unique skill become my power, Demon Wolf Summon, 2 also. Transform, Demon Wolf Unification, 3. Gobuta. Though Gobuta was on the verge of death because of Benimaru's kick, his injury recovered quickly now. A distortion occurred in the air, and Ranga was summoned. And then, Ranga wraps Gobuta's body, and the unification between Ranga and Gobuta is done. Gobuta's body seems to have grown larger, with Ranga transforming himself into a wolf's fur-like armor that covers Gobuta's entire body. Should I say it a humanoid version of Ranga? If I voiced my honest thoughts, it's too good for Gobuta, it's too cool. I thought something like, damn it. You're just a Gobuta, and yet you can transform. Oh, it's cool. What is that? It's too cool. Milim. The highly excited Milim forgets her role. I know. I understand what Milim feels. Damn it, Gobuta. It's a much more wonderful ability than I thought. Hehe, it's my turn next, Sue. Gobuta with Ranga armor. So he shouts, and then Gobuta disappeared. No, of course my eyes see it. But for normal people it looks like he's vanished. Contestant Gobuta disappeared? Where on the earth? At that moment, bottom. There was an explosion on the surface of the Colosseum wall under the spectator's seat. To be exact, it's right under the distinguished guest room where we are in. I can see it clearly. Gobuta declared it coolly, and then began to run. However, he doesn't show any indication of stopping, and as it is slammed himself into the wall, that's all. That idiot is still unable to control the power and speed at all. To make an easy-to-understand comparison, he could run if he was aware of it, he could stop if he thought about it. Based on Gobuta's original ability, even he could run anywhere instantaneously like Ranga, such a thing could happen. And yet... Oito, contestant Gobuta isn't getting up, is he alright? Suka. Just like Suka said, Gobuta won't get up. He unable to move not because the physical damage, but because he fainted due to the shock. What should I say? Immediately after showing such a cool appearance, he showed a pathetic condition. I have no way to express other than, it's Gobuta. Oi, you. Are you making fun of me? Shall we talk a while over there? Milim. Thud 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 for so Milim walks to Gobuta's spot, and then lifts Gobuta with one hand. Her face is smiling, but her eyes are not. The winner is Benimaru, though I never thought it would become such an unsightly match. Where had the anticipation and the excitement from before gone, Milim? With such a charming voice echoing, she held Gobuta in her hand forcefully. And after those words, Gobuta was taken from the Colosseum by Milim. It seems the referee judge has left. Self-destruct. Contestant Gobuta lost because he self-destruct. It is a victory for contestant Benimaru. Suka. Boo. Boo. Spectators. Grand booing came. That is justified. As Gobuta lost by self-destructing at the start of the match, moreover it's on the semi-final. It wouldn't be surprising if they lashed out with complaints and demanded reimbursement if they had pay money for it. But, when they see the appearance of Gobuta being pitifully dragged out by Milim, the intention to complain disappears. Goodbye, Gobuta. I'll never forget your gallant figure. TLLOL. Even though he coolly transformed himself with great effort, eventually the result was him pouring the fire and invoking Milim's great anger. Since Milim had high expectations for the match, it seems Gobuta's body would receive the torrent of her fury. My master, I have returned. Ranga returned without any hesitation after deserting Gobuta. That's so, right? He doesn't want to get dragged into it. Milim's lesson/fist. It seems that he excused himself from Milim and ran away when they left the Colosseum. Now, let us pray for Gobuta's happiness in the next world 5. XD I'm crying. The lesson from today. When you are too lucky, the backlash is terrifying. Gobuta used up too much luck yesterday. And this is the result. I wish he would acquire the ability honestly without depending only on luck from now on. So I wished, let's expect great efforts from Gobuta in the future. Oh well, it's just a story if he is able to survive after the discussion with Milim. The 14th match. Shin vs Diablo. It's a noteworthy match. It seems that Milim was having an important discussion with Gobuta, so she didn't return. She seems to be really angry. Gobuta too, had stepped on a terrible landmine. Thanks to all of that, Suka did the announcing by herself. Begin. Suka. So the beginning shout echoes, and the match begins. Between these two people, which one is the strongest? To say that a warm-up is unnecessary, is that their intention? Chaotic the apocalypse and genesis of fate, life and death of the universe. End of world, worlds collapse 6. At the same time, they used their special move. Shin's special move is endowed with ability of, the outcome is rewritten, by the effect of the unique skill cook. With the strength of strong will, it can negate the effect of the opponent's technique 7, it can be described as a slash that brings the result that Shin wishes for. In a sense, it was ability to manipulate the fate. Even if the fate said that it could not be cut, it will get cut. It was a sword that brings death. Against Diablo, who putting an effect that denied everything, it was an ability that would bring about destruction. To the things that Diablo didn't allow, the effect would bring destruction. For the people who couldn't resist the effect, they will receive despair. Their ability can be said as an antithesis of each other. In the end, the victory, or the defeat is decided by the collision of their will. It looks like they intend to fight with all their might from the start. While destruction energy is condensing in both of Diablo's hands, Shin slashes using her Oda ki. A clash between magic and sword is something typical that I've already seen. However, those two people, because of their unbelievable concentration and fighting spirit, each had the intention to clash from the start. How much time has passed? It seems like an eternity, but only several seconds had passed. However, in these several seconds, Shin and Diablo were exhausted and settled their battle. As expected, the winner is. An intense spark occurred in the middle of Shin and Diablo. Then, the time of conclusion arrived. A crack had run through Shin's Oda ki, and so it broke. Simultaneously, Diablo grabbed hold and crushed the whirlpool of energy that smolders in the center. However, Diablo's left arm flew off because he suppressed the power that was produced by their ability. It disappeared from the palm to the shoulder. One could see what kind of extreme power had been displayed. Kyu-fyu-fyu-fyu-fu. It was a great swordsmanship. You had me in a dangerous spot. Diablo. Diablo praises Shin without minding his lost arm. However, Shin cannot even stand up after being blown away by the aftermath of their techniques' explosion. Fu, what was dangerous? You still have more power, right? You, Shin. Not at all, there's not much power left. If I still had more power, I wouldn't have made such blunder as to lose my left arm. Diablo. Fufu. Didn't you suppress the energy of the technique with one left arm? It is my loss. Shin. Shin admitted her defeat honestly. Well, isn't it natural? If Diablo was late to suppress the energy of their technique, Shin would have received a direct hit from the technique's explosion. Even though it just an aftermath, she seemed to receive damage that made her unable to stand. It might be dangerous for her if she had received a direct hit from it. The one that should be praised is Diablo. Though he lost his left arm, he conceals that injury with his robe and acts like nothing happened at all. Or rather, how strong he is seriously. Though he was an archdemon when he arrived, after I summoned him, there were still many mysteries about him. He had become a demon duke now, and he was clearly stronger than Beretta. He also won against the demon lord Carrion, so to what extent will his strength be if he fights seriously? Should I ask Wisdom King Raphael to tell me secretly this time? Somehow, my subordinates, many of them had become stronger, more than I'd expected. I can't be careless. Anyway, the winner of this match is Diablo. Winner, Diablo. Suka. With Suka's announcement, the shout of joy reverberated in the Colosseum. With this, the two strongest are present. Benimaru and Diablo. Since we are talking about Diablo, his injury might have already recovered by tomorrow, so I think there will be no problem with his condition for the final match. The next issue is about Shin. If she is still in her current condition, Gobuta will become third place by default. No, it will only be if Gobuta is still alive. The match to decide third place will be held at noon. Gobuta vs Shin. If their conditions are not alright, will they even be able to do the match? I praised Diablo's victory while worrying about that. The match at noon, we somehow managed to hold it. Milim returned just before noon, at the same time as the ending of Shin vs Diablo. She spoke calmly and reported herself, but it seems Gobuta came and received full potion at the medical care building. It's terrible, Sue. I might already be broken Su. Gobuta. So, I heard Gobuta murmuring in small voice as his body trembled and shook. But the report that came from the Goburina of the medical care squad stated that there is no apparent problem. Shin is lively. After all, she is immortal 8. Her recovery ended quickly, her physical condition was also checked. The problem is that her weapon was broken. But, just like Gobuta, I don't need things like a weapon. Aside from that, what will happen to my Hercules Edge Reforged 9? So, she more worried about her broken sword. Oh well, that Otaki was a great article that kept enduring the reckless utilization by Shin. She seemed so attached to it that she gave it a name. I can understand about her worry. But, we can't do anything except leave this to Kurobi. Though restoration is possible with my regeneration ability, in this case, the magic power that Shin poured into it until now becomes useless. Although Shin would get used to it with much effort, it would be a waste if it returned to its original state. I entrust this to no one except the godly craftsman Kurobi. Therefore, Shin will go to the match without a weapon. Match for third place. Gobuta vs Shin. It's starting. Gobuta performed the transformation from the start. It seems he uses it better than before. While he glances repeatedly towards Milim and worry, he sets out to fight with all his might. Shin, even though she had saw Gobuta who was full of openings, she intended to conscientiously keep him company. Or rather, did she intend to do it for 30 minutes? Even if she receives a punch with full power, she will just recover. This happened repeatedly. Gobuta was already in tears. Even so. It's wonderful, Gobuta. Even though his attack was completely useless, his expressions still show that he still has another card in his hand. Evil Judge. So Milim performed her live coverage. Her eyes was emitting a message. Giving up? I won't permit it. Gobuta, so pitiful. During these 30 minutes, it was like waiting for a death penalty. For Gobuta this time was like an extended trial torture. However, because Milim was watching, he couldn't even escape. Gobuta already made a blunder when he attracted Milim with his cool transformation that appealed to her. But you know, during these 30 minutes Gobuta's movement improved remarkably. They say that real combat is superior to mock training combat. This may surely be accurate. To the last few minutes, Gobuta succeeded in evading several times. Has he gotten used to Ranga's speed? As expected, whatever has been said about Gobuta, he is a real genius. Even so, it's still impossible for him to win. After 30 minutes pass, it's only Shin that is standing. It's victory for contestant Shin. So Milim and Suka declared Shin's victory at the same time. The first Tempest tournament, the third place belongs to Shin. Gobuta did his best too. To even reach such position was already a great feat. Today I think I will treat Shin and Gobuta nicely. 1 Wonko, Wan equals Woof KO equals common name ending for a child or something that given a name. Should I use Woofy then Doggy? 2. Mukamishauken, or Ni Shikara Wo, clown translate this as, bestow me thy power, same meaning. 3. Makamigutsu, Henshin, Gutsu can mean unification / unite / fusion. For SFX, Milim is walking briskly. 5 Alt line, now, let's us pray so Gobuta's soul may rest in peace. 6. Sekai no Hukai, Endo Obuwarido. 7 Waza can mean skill 2. 8 Fushi equals immortal. Can also mean undead / undying. 9 In case you forget, Shin name her Otaki as Guraiki Maru, with Kai behind name can mean revised / reforged. Maru is suffix for names of swords, etc. Also mean custom like Zuka that is 3 times more faster or other in G universe. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 114, Tournament, Finals Part 9. Tournament, Finals Part 9. The last day of the tournament has finally arrived. The final match is today. Whoever wins between Benimaru and Diablo won't be doubted. That's because the ones left in the end are the strongest. If Gobuta remained there, there might be objections against it. Well, even so it's still a fact that Gobuta remained in the top 4. However, Gobuta being 4th place is Obviously the fourth place should be taken by Sui or Gerudo rather than Gobuta. It could be said that Gobuta is owner of strong luck. But you know, to be able to unite with Ranga, it might not be possible to say that it's merely his good luck. Right now he still can't master the ability, but eventually he would master it. Anyway, he could potentially achieve unification transform in one night, so he would be able to optimize the unification. Before that, he is aiming too high to control the power. Gobuta worked hard. It might be Gobuta that improved the most during this tournament. Well, today's match. It can be said that Benimaru was blessed with his opponents. Although he had a good match against Sui, his other matches were with lower rank people like Gozaerl and a win by default with Gobuta. On the other hand, Diablo was against three strong people. The former Demon Lord Carrion, and my greatest masterpiece Beretta the Saint Demon Doll. And at the end was Shin. His opponents were powerful people of Demon Lord class, yet he defeated them all. In any case, if he wins against Benimaru in today's match, there'll be no objection against calling him the strongest in Tempest. Well, how will it turn out? Today's live report will be conducted by Suka alone. Milim left taking Gobuta with her. Apparently she said she will retrain Gobuta for a whole day. She didn't seem interested in the final match. Although I don't know if it is a good or bad thing for Gobuta, it might be rare occasion to receive training and other things from Milim personally. I want him to do his best as much as possible. It seems he trained together with Carrion-san the Lion Mask too. They should become good friends. Oh well, while praying for Gobuta's safety, let's watch the match. Well then it's the last match. Final match, begin. Final. Benimaru vs Diablo. On Suka's yell the match began. Kyu-fyu-fyu-fyu-fu. Diablo rejoiced, joy gushing forth from deep inside his mind. The one who summoned him was truly a very wonderful master. Though he lived for a long time, he'd never come across a fight that made his heart pound like this. For him, fighting meant trampling down the opponent. The weak were only to be trampled down and get killed. After all, it's because there were only a few people that were able to hurt him who was a resident of the spirit world. Even when he rarely manifested in the physical world, it was very simple for him to slaughter people who lived there within the time he stayed there. That also includes the summoner. After all, not knowing his own standing, the summoner summoned Diablo who was a high-rank being. It can only be said that it was a foolish act. He couldn't even protest if he retired from the living. To begin with, what kind of race is demon race demon? In the ancient past, during the time when the spirits of light and dark were born, receiving the blessing of light, the angel's egg was laid, and receiving the wave of darkness the demon's seed was sowed. At the same time when spirit of time was born, the egg hatched, and the seed budded. The two were born as a conceptual existence with a pure energy body without a physical body. That was the origin of angels and demons. The mysterious thing was that the angels and demons that were born at the same time were on bad terms. When they meet, fighting is unavoidable, long fights were repeatedly fought. However, because the effects of their fights were too large, unknowingly once in every 500 years they'll only fight for 7 days, such an agreement was made. For Diablo who finds pleasure in fighting, such a peaceful period was the most tedious time. For them who don't have physical bodies, they don't have the ability to interfere with the physical world. That's why, he rejoiced when the summons from the new Demon Lord came. It marked the end of his monotonous time. That Demon Lord, Rimuru, said, "I prepared thy food, body, come forth demon. Be helpful and serve me." He grows excited every time he recalls it. He was summoned and named. He felt so intuition ally. He annihilated the small fries demons who tried to steal the march, and then he put on a nonchalant look. And so, he obtained it. A new body and a master who was worthy for him to pledge his allegiance to. That body adapted to him, the body transformed into one he wished for by liberally spending the saved magic power that he hadn't used before. In addition, his master, Rimuru, had evolved into a true demon lord. He felt the influx of energy overflowing into him and replenishing the consumed magic power. And, the most decisive thing, he was given a name. The body that was made from magic power that had been saved up over a long time, the empty body was fully injected with magic power, and when he receives a name his form stabilized. For him, fighting meant trampling down the opponent. That's why he doesn't have any interest in strength. After all, it's because he doesn't have any memory of having a hard fight. Even in fight against the angel, it was just a massacre and a usual thing for him. Therefore, when the saved-up magic power was completely consumed, he became a powerful person worthy to be called a demon duke. Even in the demon world, there is no existence that is higher than him. Right now, he could stably use his experience that he had acquired over a very long time. He might really become an existence proportional to a true demon lord. Even Diablo can't see the limit of his master Rimuru. For the first time Diablo realized there is a sky above the sky one. And, for him that didn't have any interest in strength till now, Diablo also began to wish for strength after being inspired by his monster friends. First place. That was a proof of being the highest among the monster subordinates of Demon Lord Rimuru. It was the proof of being the most useful and trusted person. What a sweet sound that titillated the mind. By all costs, the seat of first rank must be mine. So Diablo thought. Shin, who proposed the ranking, was defeated by him. But, he also admits Shin was the strongest ONI, since she was his opponent for the semi-final. It's not possible to let down his guard. However, the one who win this is me. While Diablo looks forward to the fight, he doesn't doubt his victory. Final match, begin. By Sukka's signal, the final match began. Now all that's left is only to win against Benimaru with all his power. Diablo was not yet eager, but he released the power he carried in his body. Benimaru thought while observing Diablo. This demon is haphazard. There are many powerful, mutated people amongst Rimuru's subordinates. But, only this demon, Diablo, is special. In Benimaru's insight, if he and Shin fought directly, without doubt the winner would be Shin. So he thought. The reason is simple. Benimaru is suited for a group fight while Shin is cut out for individual fight. It's only that. Turning the same amount of energy for group attack into one target would increase the power. But even with such condition, he thought that Shin had more advantages in a 1vs1 battle. And yet, in front of Diablo, that Shin was defeated. It was a direct fight, yet she was overwhelmed. Benimaru thought that his chance to win in a straightforward fight is low. However, begin. In response to Sukka's yell, he distanced himself from Diablo in an instant. Tricks and lukewarm techniques are meaningless. The right choice is to challenge the opponent with the strongest skill with maximum power. That was the decision Benimaru took after watching the defeated Lion Masks and Shin's battle. It was decided in the beginning. Hellflare Black Flame Prison. A black ball as big as a fist flies towards Diablo. There is no attempt from Diablo to avoid it. The formation of the magic circle is completed immediately, and a dome of 3 m in diameter was formed with Diablo at its center. Unlike the one from before, it's loaded with enormous magic power. It was the successful compression of Hellfire, which had an unparalleled power which cannot be resisted. Just like Benimaru, Diablo also has resistance against natural effects, but it's useless against the nullification attribute of the Black Flame. When the dome is completed, Benimaru's victory will be guaranteed, or at least that's what should happen. If I receive this attack straight ahead, it will be dangerous. Paradise. Time of allurement, 2. Diablo's voice is heard and the surrounding time stops. Before he was thoroughly burnt by the dome of black flame, the movement of the magic power was stopped, and the generation of heat was obstructed. Though he only saw it for an instant, he fathomed the detail of the technique and its countermeasure. It was another effect of the unique skill Great Wiseman 3 that Diablo possessed. For Diablo that had mastered this skill, skills that need long activation times are useless against him. This was surely the most dreadful aspect of he who had diligently mastered this ability. Also the reason why Diablo deliberately let himself receive the attacks from his opponent, was only to reconfirm the result from his analytical appraisal. In case of some techniques, he could even steal it just by seeing it. Just by looking, my technique was sealed. In the stopped world, Benimaru grumbled to Diablo. His first card is sealed. There is no anxiety in Benimaru while he thinking about the next plan. From the beginning, Diablo was in better position, because he had seen through one's mind. But, even if they predict that they are equal in simple physical combat, if there is no winning move, it will be useless. Since there is physical attack nullification, a simple slash won't give any damage. Although it's possible with Aura Blade, its power is too weak to deal fatal damage to either of them. Rather, Benimaru predicted that he would lose if Diablo put his ability to use. Kyufu. Please stop being pretentious. You still have a trump card, right? You will die if you aren't really serious when receiving my technique, you know. Diablo began the movement to use the technique at the same time as he declared. End of world that surpassed Shin's special move, is a super special move for. Benimaru judged that he had no time to think, and released a master swordsman art he had learned from Hakura. Dim Stream Slash. It's just like flowing water, warding everything and deflect it back at the opponent. Without being able to grasp its elegant simplicity, its effect will perplex the opponent. It is the pinnacle of sword arts. End of world. Dim Current Slash. At the same time as End of World was cast, the time stopped by Paradise Time begins to flow. Receiving the after effects of End of World, an intense pain went through Benimaru's whole body. The energy that was unable to be warded off by Dim Current Slash penetrated his whole body. Kyufu. You still got more. Or, do you give up? Benimaru was blown off and rolled over on the ground when the stopped time began to move again. Even though the sense of pain was nullified, his whole body was in pain. He noticed that this was a sign that his life was in danger. Diablo asks Benimaru with carefree tone, but Benimaru had no time to reply. Rather, to receive End of World inside of Paradise Time and still be capable of safely standing would be abnormal. However, he didn't care about such thoughts. Benimaru believed that he himself was worthless. His sword skill had improved so that he could now fight on par with Hakura. His ability to concentrate magic power to use in combat had also increased and he could use it for various purposes. But, Benimaru was inferior to Shin in individual fights. He was also inferior to Ranga in large-scale fights. In the end, he who specialized in commanding and seeing the whole picture, is he unable to transcend the wall of strength? That was the issue Benimaru faced. As the army commander, he was able to become useful for Rimuru. However, as he was right now, wasn't it impossible for him to become Rimuru's shield? He was haunted by such anxiety. That's why. Don't screw around with me. Why, there is a need for this great Mi-5 to be worried about such a small and unimportant thing. He gradually became furious. Originally he held a short-tempered personality. He had become more mature and learned patience recently, but there is no way his initial personality can change so easily. As a commander he held a sense of responsibility merely to make the aim of harmonious surroundings come to fruition. To stop is foolish. It not like me, to worry repetitively is troublesome. That's right, I only need to win. If the opportunity is non-existent then I'll just make one appear. Benimaru made a breakthrough. Benimaru stood up and brandished his katana without answering Diablo's question. Diablo, who saw that appearance as the decision for the continuation of the fight, laughed lightly. Kyufu. It's Benimaru indeed. So he said as he took out a distorted blade, holding it with both hands. Its appearance is like 3 claws, it's symmetric. The length of one claw is about 1 m, a sharp double-edged blade. It's a special weapon made by Kurobi for Diablo, a scissors blade claw scissors 6. Seeing Diablo, who didn't use weapon before and letting out his personal weapon right now, a commotion arises inside the Colosseum. And, while anticipating something, they were engulfed by an intense enthusiasm. Benimaru discarded his hesitation, and had his mind focus. In the first place, there is a guy who improves greatly during a fight. If you say recently, it's Gobuta. If that idiot can, there's no way I can't, is the simplest answer Benimaru came up with. I'll do it. I will not let this bastard look down on my power. And while calming his mind, a thick aura enclosed his whole body. He invoked the demon flame transformation. The injury on his body is healed. At the same time, he fused the thick aura and the black flame into one. There are no ripples in it, a beautiful dark red aura covers his entire body and the preparation was complete. It didn't even take more than a second. I will become serious next. Don't resent me even if you die, okay? Fu. Such confidence, I don't dislike it. Their gaze intersected, each one of them released the greatest technique they held. Scissors of End Life's Harvest, 7. Rebirth Interment Blast of Flameth a Hazy Black Flame. 8. Diablo's Scissors which reaps all lives. In a moment it clashed with Benamera's katana dyed in crimson, it was stopped and repelled back. When the katana was retracted, a surge of black flame aura struck Diablo and slashed at him. Just like flowing water, it cannot be eluded, the flame wrapped up and thoroughly burned everything. Right now, produced at this moment was Benamera's special move. Benamera's katana couldn't stand the heat and the impact, so it broke and melted. Diablo's scissors melted too because of the damage it received from Benamera's katana, and became something he couldn't use. Of course, Diablo who was wielding it also received a large wound on his chest and fell to the ground, defeated. Fu. Splendid. This is the first time in my life that I tasted defeat. What is this? This bitterness. Never again do I want to taste such a thing. Never again. What do you think a fight is? Benimaru fell to his knee as well, it seems like he had exhausted his spirit energy. Ito. It's victory for contestant Benimaru. Sosuke declared. At this moment, the winner was decided. It was a long tournament that lasted for several days. And so, the end arrived. Wanju niwaju no sante gairu. Above strong person there's still someone stronger. 2. Yuyaku nojikan, Paradaiju Temu, time of 3 Daikanjin, Great Wiseman. While Rimuru is Daikanjia. Forshin's special move, Hisatsuwaza, while Diablo's is Josetsuji, Super/Ultra/Hyper/Ultimate special move. 5 Orsama. 6. Tsumhasamiha, Scissors. 7. Sime no Shuakaku, End of Scissors. I changed it as Scissors of End as End of Scissors sounds a bit weird. 8. Aburo Kuro en Suyubu, Ribazu Furiima. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 115, Underground Labyrinth Exploration Party. Underground Labyrinth Exploration Party. The final match ended, with Benimaru as the champion. With this the rankings from 1st to 4th are decided. Come to think of it, it will be necessary to decide the official positions and titles. For the time being, the 4 Heavenly Kings, Shitenu, might be good. Speaking about the 4 Heavenly Kings, it's Gobuta. Kukyuku, that fellow is the weakest of the 4 Heavenly Kings. He's the disgrace of the 4 Heavenly Kings. Will something like that be said? It fits so much that it's scary. If Gobuta is not in unification state with Ranga, there seems to be a plausible chance of victory against a high-ranking party of adventurers. Oh well, it might be difficult to win against a prepared Gobuta. Aside from that, the organization seems to have expanded. Looks like I have to think about the official position. I note it down in my mind. Because the victory ceremony ended, it is now time for the Labyrinth Exploration Party. It's only for applicants, but I hope there are a lot of participants if possible. Today Ramaris is also energetic, she sits on my shoulder. Her face brimming with confidence. Feldera who stands beside me also has a somewhat proud expression. Oi, is it safe? Because today is the exploration party, it's not good to be reckless you know. Fufu. It's all you right, one please leave it to me. I will operate the safety device today. Kukaku. However, after tomorrow, it might become the awakening day of an atrocious labyrinth. Looking at each other's faces, Ramaris and Feldera laughed wickedly. Is that okay? For some reason, I become uneasy. Leaving the final touches to someone else might be an unwise thing to do. After the lunch break ended, the spectators returned to their seat in the Colosseum. The purpose is to display the dungeon, but if 10,000 people go to the dungeon at once it will get too crowded, and it also wouldn't become a decent tour. Having thought about that, I requested one party to represent the conquering of the dungeon. Fortunately, it seems there's nobody who went home after the lunch break. It's possible to advertise it fully with this. Miles proceeds to the center of the Colosseum. He greets the spectators with the mic in his hand. And then, well then, without any delay, are there any brave people who want to conquer our country's famous dungeon? He shouted. While he shouts, we too head to the center of the Colosseum. Ramiris, who is still sitting on my shoulder, summons the underground labyrinth's temporary gate in the middle of the Colosseum. Oh! A commotion is heard, and a quiet excitement spreads to the spectators. By the way, if there are no applicants, it would be Masayoki-kun's turn. I'm able to arrange it perfectly. He is waiting on standby for his turn. As for the live broadcast position, Suka is the cameraman, Hakuso and Nansa will be her helpers. So, the challengers' looks will be projected onto the large monitor. It's a plan to let spectators observe the dungeon safely. It would be a big problem if by any chance the big shots got hurt. Therefore, I adopted a plan to let only the representatives personally experience it. Again, if there are no people interested in entering the dungeon, it's Masayoki's turn. The problem is to plan the experience of death. However, if the first step into the first floor ends up unreasonable with an instant death, then there will be no challengers in the future. Because of that, I want you to do your best reasonably. Because the area is considerably wide, I don't think they can clear the first floor, but this time, I let the helpers, Suka and Ko, that will accompany them to hold group return items. If there is a problem, it's possible for them to return immediately. For about 2 hours, Suka will capture the best moments inside so that the spectators can enjoy it. Of course, as a souvenir, I also prepared treasure boxes with weapons and other things here and there. Did Ramiris Feldera and Milim set an unreasonable trap or not? It's the only worry I've had since a while ago. Hehe, oi Demon Lord San. We will reveal your pretenses. To show such a thing like a tournament and grandiosely fixed matches, no matter how it impresses us, it'll not end well. For those kinds of things, you used some kind of illusion magic, right? It's okay even if you don't answer. Also, this labyrinth is just a bluff, we can see through your true colors. HN. Somehow the candidate appears by himself. It's convenient, right? Though it also seems idiotic. Apparently people who fought in this Colosseum were thought as some kind of illusion. If you don't have some ability, it's not possible to predict what is happening. Probably because of that, there were people who simply enjoyed it as a show, and there were some like these guys that suspect it was a hallucination or an illusion. Or rather, for people who were able to follow the matches, they looked pale and wanted to believe it isn't true. Although I said they were able to follow them, they just understood that the fights were on a different dimension, understanding only to such a degree. But that is fine. My purpose was accomplished to some extent, and people who came to pick a fight with me should have disappeared once they watched the fight. As expected, there are 1 or 2 people who can understand this among the warriors that were brought by important people from each country. It's fine if those people tell the truth to their employer. It was also expected that there would be some people who wouldn't believe their eyes. Well, as the long-awaited candidate came out, let's make the request immediately. Because this just a trial, naturally the bracelet of revival is distributed for free. By Ramiris' ability, it is possible to revive 10 seconds after dying. After that an improvement was added. I heard that its ability to cancel injury and pain when dead is confirmed. If high heal or full potion is used, it is possible to revive on the spot. I give them such tips and explain it so they don't think that it will happen outside of the labyrinth. Assuming some idiot misunderstands that it's possible to revive even on the outside, it's not our responsibility. It's annoying that everything is considered to be the reasonability of the organizer side. Even in my previous world, it feels like the responsibility was pressed too much on the shop side. For the idiot who breaks the rule and acts violently. Even if they die, I think they reaped what they had sown. However, when the explanation is insufficient, the responsibility is ours. I take that as a warning. I decided to do things as carefully as I can. There is no death inside the labyrinth? Interesting. Then, you over there, please die and show it. He tests it on another person rather than on himself. Oh well, it might be a natural request. The nominated Nansa put on the bracelet while weaning on "what a pain to" expression and entered the dungeon. At the same time, the challengers also enter. The large skinhead man 3, who let out the previous remark seems to be the leader, took out a hatchet. Then, please attack. Tasuka words, Nansu is slashed when he about to say wait. Ki. Or so like that, a loud scream was heard, Nansu is slashed so many times over. Nansu didn't counter-attack, he just received the attack just as it is. Is the skinhead malicious? He keeps on attacking without aiming at the same place as one hit didn't kill him. Though Nansu's appearance is a personified dragon, he's not a human. Because the other party is a monster, he torments him without any restraint. Oh well, the attacks is blocked by Nansu's scales, and there is a possibility that he didn't really receive any damage. The skinhead is covered with sweat, after he dealt a dozens of blows and he finally demanded support from his companion. Many magic and arrows pour down on Nansu, it seems he finally defeated after some 10 minutes pass. I think I should apologize to Nansu later. After all, he was pushed to an unpleasant role. Nansu's defeated body becomes light particles and disappears. The equipment he wore in his body also changed into similar light particles and disappears. Such spectacle is recorded and projected on the large screen in the Colosseum with the crystal ball that the helper, Suka and Co., brought along. And so, at the same moment the light particles disappearing, Nansu is revived on the side of the temporary gate in the middle of the Colosseum. Oh! Shouts of joy arise from the spectators. It's troublesome if this too is doubted as a trick, but there's no other way to make them believe other than by experiencing it themselves. So the challenger is only this adventurer. I think I have no other choice but to wait until it spreads from mouth to mouth. Even if there is a curious challenger, a cautious person might not try it. Anyway, the exploration began when the skinhead and Co reach an agreement. Now, let the exploration of the dungeon begin. An unknown world ahead. Just what is waiting beyond this? Suka's face is projected onto the large screen, and the inside situation is relayed. It's made in documentary style. And so, they advance through the first floor made coherently of stone. I thought that someone would normally draw a map while advancing, but it seems there is no one preparing a map. Will they be okay? Though I thought there were cave explorations or something like that even in this world. TCH, it's only leading to the same path. What, isn't this just a crossroad? Dana, didn't we already go through this path before? Basin, this bad. It seems like this labyrinth is wider than we thought. I immediately lost my worry for those people. I had already explained about the size, but it seems they didn't listen. Oh well, it may be that. The worst thing that could happen to them is to return by dying. Also, an SOS function has already included in the bracelet. If you use the function, Trainee-san and the other dryad will appear to save you. Oh well, though the only thing they do is send you back forcibly to the surface. The skinhead man, his name was Basin, he and his companion's anxiety had increased, their expressions suggest that they didn't find this situation amusing. Not good, it's not the issue with the level of difficulty. The challenger was too foolish. In case of this, I should have prepared a shill for. While I lamenting about it. Basin-san. There is a room in this way. One of his companion notices a door. Oi, Ramirez. What's inside that room? There is no monster room in the first floor, right? Didn't we advertised it properly? It's alright. That challenger is slightly beyond awful. No matter what I've said, their recklessness until now was beyond my expectations. But, there is a treasure chest and one monster inside that room. There's no problem. Okay, if that's so, it's alright. I feel uneasy. Never did I think that our plan will become out of order like this. That adventurer was equal to a B- rank. That party was composed of 6 people, for they to fail the first floor of this labyrinth, was something beyond our expectation. Oh well, it's not a dungeon you can conquer under 2 hours, but total party annihilation was something bad for the publicity. I look at the image while excited. One person put his hand on the door and opened it carefully. Inside it is one giant bear. It's alright. Because it's just a monster of C rank, it's on level they can defeat. It's a monster. A giant bear, I'll become the decoy, you all watch for a chance. Basin leaped into the room and confronted the giant bear from the front. And so, the battle begins. His companions covering from his back were launching their attacks one after another, and after minutes they finally defeated the giant bear. It seems nobody is injured. However, did they actually need 5 minutes to defeat one giant bear with 6 people? If they do poorly like this, it could take about 3 days for them, only to conquer the first floor. It isn't? We need to arrange for the monsters to also drop food ingredients. Perhaps the difficulty of the labyrinth is higher than we think? No, I only want to think that those guys are low level. Oh well, the upper floor is a huge map, only the lowest floor closely resembles it in size. Because there were many traps, the map size was gradually narrowed. I made it so that they only would be able to clear 10 floors in 1 week, so it was good that the estimation was higher than the reasonable level I'd thought of. The desperate struggle with the giant bear finally ended. It seems there is a treasure chest in this room. What the heck is inside of it? Because of Sukha's voice, I turned my eyes to the large screen. One of Basin's companions opened the box casually. Oh, don't they take any precautions against traps? I have seen better skills in Ellen's professional group before. They are too low level, seeing them made me cringe. About them, in front of my eyes that had been accustomed to game, I can't think of them as anything other than amateurs. Perhaps in this world they aren't familiar with the concept of a treasure box inside a labyrinth? That's why they could still do something as reckless like that? No, if it was Guido, he would be more vigilant. Maybe they don't have anyone with thief-class skills. Since they are convoy of bodyguards, maybe they are only not skilled in this. In any case. Basin-san, it's a sword. All right. It seems they pulled a great success. Nay, I said it so that today all the events would be a success with my ability, you know. Oh, Feldera. Did you read the situation? It's a good decision. If they don't have a great experience today, people who want to come to the labyrinth will decrease. We nod together. Basin and his companions look at the sword in turn and whistle. It seems he likes the sword. All right, everybody. Let's keep going with this pace. Basin put away his hatchet and changed it to a sword. 3 kobolds appear. Their quick disposal helped confirm the performance of the sword. Though it's just the lowest grade of Kurobi works, it might be an excellent sword in their hands. They indiscriminately slay any monster that comes out, and began to advance smoothly. And, it seems they acquired a tremendous amount of magic crystals 5 from the monster's drop. This is good. It seems we can earn a lot in here. So he says to his companion with an overjoyed face. They advance with such a pace steadily. And, that situation is covered by Sukha. The eyes of the spectators are glued on Basin and his companion's activity. Or rather, they were too immersed with feeling that they were also participating in the exploration by the immensely appealing battle scene that was playing on the big screen. A scream is heard every time a monster appears. The splendid reaction is interesting. It's a mood similar to that when watching a horror movie. At the moment it has been exactly 2 hours. One of Basin's companions falls down. It seems he had been attacked by the monster inside the room. The monster inside the room is a single skeleton. It prepared its bow and sniped at the person who entered the room. The defeated person became light particles and disappeared after his forehead was pierced by an arrow. Above all, they were able to experience death at just the right time. The skeleton is immediately defeated by the 5 remaining people. It might be the right time. They got enough experience. As it is, there was enough tension, so they were just the right challengers. Soon the experience time will end. A victim also appeared. Let's return from here. Sukha, who notices the signal from my thought, declared so. They collect the treasure chest in the room and return. They activate the bracelet's ability. Because this was a trial, they wouldn't be able to bring the bracelets back. Their rewards were the various articles they got from the treasure chest. They appear beside the temporary gate in the center of the Colosseum. Unbelievable. Did you really revive? I thought it was the end for me, but instantly the pain disappeared and I was safe too. Really? Then, you don't have any headache? No, from the beginning you guys already gave me headache. You guys completely didn't take any precautions for the traps, so it would be impossible for you guys to go beyond the second floor where traps have been set down. I wanted to Tsukomi like that, but I stopped myself firmly from doing it. How's that? Were you able to enjoy it? The dungeon will be formally open tomorrow. If you are interested, I want you to challenge it by all means. I gave my final speech, and the underground labyrinth exploration party also ended safely. The best part of this was the feelings of the spectators. The results from the tournament were very exciting, but they were able to receive a close impression of a personal experience inside of the labyrinth from the images. Thus in this way my inauguration as the Demon Lord and the unveiling of the Monster Country Tempest that lasted for several days has finally reached its conclusion peacefully. The night of the same day, once again, we held a grand banquet for our sponsor. The purpose is to maintain a good impression. Thus, to hold the event without any problems was a great success. I can't wait for the responses they would give from tomorrow on. I pray it keeps going just as planned. And so the night grew old while I thought about tomorrow. 1 Ramirus Euste Jo Bui. 2 Yar, good grief, geez etc. She feels reluctant to do it. 3 Sukinhedo no Otoko, a large man with skinhead/shaved head. 4 Shil is someone who is secretly employed by the person or organization of an event to publicly helps them promoting by encouraging other onlookers or audience members to try the product or the service without disclosing his/her relation with the employer. 5 Mashowski, magic crystal stone/mana crystal in some game. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible.